What is up, Raphael? What's goody in the hoodie?
Good evening, Nunu Paris. I am so happy to be here. I hope you know I do. Every time I hear salutation, I always think of you. That is your word. Nunu Paris
Oh
in
my
her
gosh.
day job does start her email, and I'm assuming sometimes in drag, starts her emails with salutations.
I think it's something so camp, and I've always loved it. I think I learned that word when I was in elementary school. And I just always wanted just used it. I said as an adult, I'm just using it, bring a little bit whimsy back to life because it's struggling. The world's starved for fun right now, isn't it?
Yeah, last week was rough. Oh my god. For a timestamp, it is Monday, February 2nd. So the first Monday since we were snowed in for an entire week here in DC. I'm now can confirm that I'm able to scoot slash ride a bike around the city now. Mostly, mostly, mostly. I would say 85 to 90% of my experience was on solid concrete.
And I am just here at home, also bundled up, but that means we get to talk and really do our episodes. So welcome back to our episode of Wait, Don't Do It, where we are telling you to don't act like it's not political because everything is political. Your clothes, your social media posts, what you watch, it's all become political, and we have to figure out how to navigate this together. To
Absolutely.
navigate this together, we gotta talk about, like Rafi said, DC coming together to hate DC public service. Y'all hate what happened with ICE and what didn't happen rather on the sidewalks because you can barely get through it.
First of all, just a quick interjection here. This episode is called "Wait, Don't Be a Barb." Um, where everything's political. But no, yeah, I feel like, and I want to go ahead and say I've seen how things were in New York, Brooklyn. I've seen some Brooklyn TikToks that were like saying how bad it was over there. And I'm not saying that other cities probably don't have the same failures, especially in America. But the fact that people in the Midwest that are live in DC right now are like, what the fuck is this snowcrete? We've never heard of that. And we live in the coldest parts of this country. This was a public failure. It did not have to be snowcrete. It didn't have to go into that narrative, and I feel like that's gaslighting at its finest, like legitimizing literally
Yeah.
an internet phrase. You're legitimizing an internet phrase, and that is never in my childhood did I experience this kind of buffoonery, because, mind you, I went to school in Connecticut, and we were going to school in, like, 6 inches of snow while it was snowing, but the city planning was on point. Mind you, I was in Greenwich, Connecticut, so they had money there. But yeah, this was just such a failure this year. How was I mean, do you think Montgomery County wait, Howard County, where you at? What do you think
I'm in
they
the
handled it better?
DMV. I am every woman. I'm every Marylander, every Virginian, every DC-er. I am you and you are me. And this Snowcrete, as y'all have named it, which is just ice, very thick levels of ice, is insane. In my school system where I work, we have been closed we're on week 2 of closure, and I'm totally okay with it because it's hard to navigate from my end here to get to DC. It took me like 45 minutes the other day, and that's usually what, a 10-minute drive for me because I'm so close. So like it was insane. One way roads, right lanes blocked off, people having to walk in the street, wheelchairs in the street. It was insane. It was insane.
Um, so interesting that because you were I'm not gonna say well, your district is not going back to school. It's been more than a week for y'all, and y'all are still not going back. And I'm confused because I guess y'all do have more roads maybe than DC does because y'all are such a vast,
Duh.
forest county. Like y'all have a lot. I mean, PG goes from Hyattsville all the way to where Wilkesboro. Where
Yep.
Upper Marlboro. So it is like y'all have such a vast, array of infrastructure, but I'm gagged that y'all don't have it together yet. Because apparently Virginia's eating. Apparently Reston is like out here living and or not Reston. I saw like Arlington's
Alexandria,
roads were pretty much
Arlington,
clean.
Shirlington.
Like Alexandria, I saw Arlington had it together. So what went wrong for us here in the Maryland DC area?
I don't know. I feel like it seems very like obvious to prepare for ice and snow. Everyone knew it was coming. And then when it happened, it was just ice. And like there was no like on my apartment patio and rooftop is still closed off because it's just a layer of ice that has not melted yet. There's no plans to remove it. So I guess residents are just not accessing these amenities. It's insane. It's insane. I mean, we're in major roadways here and you know, we don't live in those sticks. It's just so crazy. It's weird that they weren't prepared, and to see the amount of ice still on the ground is insane, and I worry about those, without houses and how, disabled people were affected so specifically with this, and I can't believe the
My thing
failure of
is,
public office to prepare.
yes, because I think um DC gets a snowstorm about every 10 years because this happened. Snowmageddon happened in 2016. I think the last one was around 2009, and
Night
then now 2016, and now it's 2026. So we are following that pattern consistently. And I know when I asked the question recently, they were like, "Oh, why don't we have this like elaborate snowmobile plows that Canada has? I mean, we are the red, white, and blue. We should have those funds. Didn't we have a surplus that apparently we don't have anymore in the DC budget
That's a
because Trump is
tariff.
also
Tariffs on the plows,
Trump,
everyone, I'm sorry.
but also Trump is like destroying the DC budget right now. So there's like a push and pull in that situation. But if we have a snowstorm in 10 years, that means it's legitimate for us to have a plan already in place. Even with Snowmageddon aside, there are every year, like clockwork. I remember last year I made a video about I was at work in Columbia Heights, and the entire sidewalk was still pure ice. This happens consistently every year here in DC, and it doesn't matter if it's 10 feet, 10 inches, or 10 centimeters. There's still like a
Build
slowdown in our
heaters with
infrastructure.
sidewalks. They should have heated sidewalks, heated everything. We are a modern city with solar panels. I want everything, honey. We should live in the future. It's 2026. I don't want to hear that it's not possible. Y'all just don't want it to happen.
Oh, I love the idea of heated sidewalks, like heated seats, period. Oh my god, that'd be amazing. But even then, it's just I feel like this was just a just a lost plot and a lost point of like a job. Like you're really just out here forcing because it feels like at least PG County didn't do anything about their snow. And you know what? They're not making y'all go back to school either.
Oh, Shay, I'm so shocked that DC told them people to go. She said we open it all time. Fuck the delay, bitch. On time. I don't care how y'all get there. We gotta get there. We'll shuttle some educators over there. What do we need to? But y'all gotta get to school. We not going past June. But we gonna be here forever in PG. We gonna be out of school in August, so I can't wait.
I still think it's crazy that y'all have to like make up the days somehow because those last few days are still going to be just like empty, weird, like not real days of school. But I honestly just think it's crazy that when there's still ice on the roads, when there's still fire trucks and emergency vehicles not able to drive through certain
That's what
roads
I'm saying.
here in
Oh my gosh.
DC, you're making kids go back to school. Like that's a priority. I think it's very just bad
Yeah.
administration and not connected to the community. And it shows the priority because you know what? I know her child probably goes to private school. So it's just two different
They were
like
probably
you're
doing remote learning and fine, and not like other public school kids. And I just think we need to find better alternatives that also help parents, which I really enjoy the really popular candidate for DC for mayor. Was it Janice? I did see her recent, poll or reel, talking about affordable DC, but also the focus on universal child care. I think
yeah,
that would
I think
help
that's
a lot of this.
we have to bring back we have to stop pretending there's no money here in DC and that it's not one of the most richest cities in this country. We have to stop playing dumb. And it starts with giving us more control over ourselves and our government here. Because, like I said, I'm not going to say that the mayor's job is easy. I'm not going to say that everything's her fault. But I will say there comes to a point where it's clear where priorities lie in this and who's being watched out for and who's not. and it's also a manipulative way to lead the city by posting pictures of clear sidewalks to schools. Meanwhile, you didn't take a picture of the road, which is still covered in ice. So it's just a very weird way to run a city, and that's just a pin on that.
Speaking
But
of ice, we still have ice not only in our area. In fact, this morning, there was alerts going around in my county, Montgomery County, of ice starting in the mornings, looking in certain areas, and ice operations have been ramped up. But they are, people are fighting back, like the great state of Minnesota, who has continued their statewide protests amongst a lot of chaos, continued chaos. But again, if you don't know, Minnesota has always been politically upright, right? Since, like, I know in 1976 they were blue, 80s, 90s, 2000 they were always blue, and they've always been a place for the people. And I think it's important that other states follow suit. And I wonder why DC didn't do this, or North Carolina, or Baltimore. Other places didn't rise up in the way that Minnesota did.
well, I saw a lady in North Carolina pull out a gun on her property. Like,
Everyone with a fucking gun in North Carolina. That's just like a going to Bojangles, honey. Everyone does it.
but that's it's just I mean, we said it in the last podcast. It just feels like we're legitimizing uh a hate group. We're legitimizing and adding a fund, like adding a budget for something that acts like, the Nazis or
I don't. You're right. I think I wanna base it, in not Nazism as much as our own history. I love the comedian Dulce, because I think she said it really, really best, in that this is still based in Jim Crow, right? Based on our own
yeah.
roots. I think sometimes we like to say, "Oh, it's just like in Germany." No, this is a very specific American problem, and now we have 8, 9 people dead, including Keith Porter and Alex Pretty and Renee Good and all the people, all the children, right? And I know that there's good news, right? Liam and his father got released, but I do can't help feel like it's some kind of prop for maybe some, I don't know, Democratic campaign or leeway, that's, to me, is not really solving the problem. It seems like
No,
pawn or sacrifice or something.
there's a purpose behind all this, and it's not to better this country. It's not to afford more jobs to Americans. It's not to make anything more equitable for anyone. It is solely for two reasons for Trump right now, and it is to make money and suppress these documents. Those are the two reasons why this man is president right now. He because let's be clear, they just talked about how there was a section where they talk about oral sex on the president. Let me be clear.
Ooh,
It's only as that's only the iceberg. That's only the iceberg of how bad these files
Titanic.
are. And this man is out here killing Americans to cause distractions. It's obvious. This man has been acting and creating storylines for himself since the beginning, since that bullet hit his fake ass ear. This man has been acting, and I just don't fully believe that
Acting, 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 acting.
this has nothing to do with anything but control, authoritarianism, and self-greed, which is a step further than any other thing in history right now, because it's actually laughable that this man is president.
Yeah, and I think that for ICE, I think there is, these mandates versus public perception. Now a lot of these ICE agents who are masked are now being, identified so that, they could be doxxed and harassed. Is that the right way to go about it? Do you think that's activism?
Yeah. If they have a gun if they have a gun and physically I have no power. There's no
Mhm.
physically, if I go see them in real life, they could clearly shoot me and get away with it. So that's what I'm
Yeah.
trying to avoid here. But internet warfare is a warfare and we should utilize it. These people are
Wow.
hiding their face. If you're gonna hide your face, don't worry, Imma dox you. Period. So I do think that's a valid form of protest. I'm not gonna girl, bye. I will say that I don't want anyone to risk their lives, but do I think that sometimes violence has to be the answer? But I don't want people to put their lives at risk. I don't want that to be a thing. So political violence, or internet violence, that's fair game, sweetie.
Do you think that something more could be done? Like, I know sometimes we express frustrations at celebrities or politicians, but like, what do you think, as a regular citizen could be done right now?
I thought the protest or like the boycott or the strike, love that. We should keep doing that. We should do that quarterly.
To the strike,
I think that should be a monthly thing that we do. Let's really create that change. But beyond that, it's being real and looking at the greater situation, which is why we why is this happening? Because there is a lot of just fake um like fake politic, like gaslighting going on. Because let's be clear, these mayors are acting saying get out of our city. Well, you do have the authority to have a conversation with the police officers and get them to show or like know what the deal is with these ICE officers to
mhm,
vet these to literally be like, so what's the plan today? Who are you? Where are you going to target today? Okay, we're going to go there
rock,
and make sure y'all do
yeah.
it lawfully, because we're here to enforce the law, and you're not enforcing the law. So we're here to enforce you. But because they're working on the same side of history, that's not being done. So we have to have those real conversations. I think that our political goals right now should be completely offensive. They need to stop being. We just talked about universal health care or universal child care here in DC.
Childcare, yes, ma'am.
How's that gonna be a priority, no shade, when again, our children's could literally be
Snatched.
there's field trips that are being canceled at the risk of ICE coming for those school buses. Like, this is a real fear. That should be the priority first. That's the priority. That is what we need to be focusing on because, yeah, universal healthcare or childcare is amazing.
Do you think that's a
No
part of
child left
childcare though?
behind.
No, it is protecting children. Maybe that could be a part of childcare. We could just expand our view of childcare, not
I
that.
think these conversations have to be had intersectionally. You can't say universal health, universal childcare without saying universal protections for every child. Because there's also a reality in the world where Latino children whose parents don't speak the language feel like they don't have access to those things. I being a grew up starving during high school or during high school lunch because we didn't my parents didn't fill out the free lunch. I could have gotten
Right.
free lunch, but I didn't. I was a kid and my parents didn't read the language. So sometimes we just get out of the loop because there's no advocacy for us in there. There's no options. So, but I'm assuming it's better here in DC because I went to school in North Carolina, but these are still realities that a lot of kids probably don't have those accesses already. So children are still being left behind. And I think when we need to unify or intersectionalize what you mean by that, especially right now where but it's also like right now children are being being swapped up by ICE in schools. That should be the law. That should be the priority. That should be the priority right now. We have to be offensive. So I think that's what we need to really realize on politics sides, that these politicians, their jobs matter, and we need to really hold them accountable. And we need to stop putting so much weight on what celebrities are saying about ICE. Girl, they live in a
What are
different
the
world than you.
celebrities saying about ICE? We had obviously the Grammys recently. Obviously, quick shout out to Benito Bad Bunny for any album of the year. We'll get into it.
Period.
But, Kalani spoke out against ICE, Shabuzi, Billie Eilish during the Grammys. And people wonder, what people could be doing more, about the Grammys. One of the winners, Jelly Roll, who found Ozempic and Jesus, who spoke at length about Jesus
I
and how it's
heard.
for
I
everyone,
heard.
was asked after the ceremony, what his thoughts were on ICE, and he just said he doesn't really know much about politics, but because he's a dumb redneck, and I just feel like we excuse a lot because the Grammys has become this fun spectacle of diversity and inclusion, which I love the rebranding. It does become a little predictable, right? But I love it, right? Because I do think the people that win now deserve the win, and it makes sense for culture and the category. And that is why it was so important when Bad Bunny won not one but two awards during the televised program, and he was emotional about it. In the first award, he got to speak about not being afraid and having to fight hate with love. But Raffi talks about violence and doxing. How do we combine those ideas, America?
Well, you have to meet in the middle with love. And right now there's a lot of hate, and you can't get to love without respect. You can't to love. Some of y'all love people that don't respect you, but I believe you can't have one without the other.
He operates like a Mob Wives character for some reason.
We are being our asses are being whooped in this country right in our faces.
So should the celebrities speak about it more? Should every speech be about ICE, or is it redundant, or does it? Okay, but I mean, it's a big televised program. How does it not matter?
They need to. I think that they should it's funny. I grew up with Rhett and Link. I know you have no idea who they are. They're like North Carolina, like they are from North Carolina. They were major YouTubers during like the 2000s or whatever, or 2015s era, but they're still pretty big. They're still doing really well for themselves. And they were like, again, North Carolina, two white men, and they're really religious or like whatever, but they always come across as like unproblematic or whatever. So I checked their LinkedIn, and they had like websites and links on ICE and being like, don't like defund ICE, and actual like donations
Right.
towards immigration reform or whatever. And I just thought that was just like so easy. And I don't think they probably ever made a video about it, or they never made a huge deal about it. But I think it's those access points and like stern positioning in history that matter. And I think that's how celebrities and people with power should be standing up. For our reggaeton brunches, again, I'm not gonna say that have the power, I have authority or whatever, but whatever platform or opportunity I present, I'm going to think of people like me, or people that brought me into this country, like the reason why I'm here, like period. If you go to Reggaeton Brunch right now, you can still donate to DC Mutual Migrant Aid. We are still raising money for them for every brunch that we do. It's passive. I'm not promoting it, but it's just a way to give access, to give support, because that's ultimately how we continue to fight for each
Give
other.
back. You
Is
gotta give back.
continuing that connection, not disconnecting, not thinking the job is ever done. Girl, no, the job is never done. So yeah, I think that's how they should be using their platform. I don't give a fuck if you win a Grammy and then tell me, oh, fuck ICE. Thank you. Oh my God, I feel so seen. Bitch, bye. Thanks. No shade. No shade. Okay. So, which brings us to the main topic of today's episode.
We're all just talking about the state of America right now.
And the state of Nicki Minaj's mental health and political stance. That is what we all will also be
So
talking right
we're gonna talk about the real facts about Nicki Minaj's recent political positioning.
stunts.
She's been embraced by conservative audiences. She has spoke at these mainstream conservative events and has engaged in very heated Twitter rants and continues to do so as of today, this morning. Of us, we're taking aback that she, is this mega Barbie fantasy, and it just all seems so weird. It all seems so weird. As a Barb, Raffi has had to, really
No, I
change his
wanna say
name.
this right now. I was never a Barb, I was a Nicki fan. I was an Are you a Nicki fan? I was a Nicki fan. I was never gonna claim. First of all, you would never let me claim that I was a Barb. And I was a Nicki fan. I respected her. I today, for example, well, anytime someone played a song where Nicki was featured and they didn't play her song, I would lose my mind. I would just lose it. So like, yeah, I was a Nicki fan. But at this point, I think I had to process that hurt. I felt personally attacked by Regina George. I was like, wow, like it's not only just like you voting for like your husband that's a child predator, but you also know that Donald is a child
She didn't
predator.
vote. She is not a U.S. citizen.
So yeah, so whatever. So you live in this world, but you are actively being like hurtful. And not only that, just very with homophobic undertones at this point. Like as soon as she came out as a Republican, she really started like coming using cocksucker as an insult, as if she hasn't rapped about that for herself. I just think that's so weird, and I think that it's just also, this is my biggest issue, honestly. As a Republican who is clearly voting for Trump or loves Trump or is sucking Trump's dick, you're using Chucky as your emoji on Twitter. You're using him as your platform when that came from a gay writer and producer and creator. Don Mancini needs to, Don Mancini, you need to sue Nicki Minaj right now because she needs to stop with that. It's offensive. It is hurtful, crazy, crazy.
Nicki Minaj continued to use her Twitter persona meme, which are these AI Chucky references, whether it's Chucky laughing, Chucky with a martini glass, it references her being a villain, a bad guy, and obviously the camp that is Chucky, right? But like, Rafi alluded to, there's irony. Chucky has a trans non-binary child. It is a source of joy for a lot of queer people who see themselves as, raggedy dolls, and I feel
Welcome to our podcast, Two Raggedy Dolls.
first name and last name Raggedy, the Nicki Minaj line. But as of still within the last 24 hours, she tweets, the LGBT has also started to see through the veil and it has pissed them off. Why are they getting the gay vote by default? They've moved on from the gay vote to flying in people to vote for them. No loyalty to anyone. The gay community should be able to choose every 4 years like everyone else after the Democrats campaign to win your vote. They should not just get your vote. Wake up.
Do y'all know what she just said? Clap if you know what she just said. Clap. How are you the best rap lyricist of recent time and you can't make a tweet make sense?
To wrap up this Twitter rant she went on, she then goes to say, everyone knows Chrissy Teigen has/had a dick, allegedly.
That part. What?
I think this is in response to the Grammys again last night, where Trevor Noah made a joke saying Nicki Minaj was at the White House with Trump and they were comparing their butt sizes. You can see Chrissy laughing hysterically, as the rest of the audience did, at Nicki Minaj clapping that she wasn't there. She then goes to say, Fat Lizzo lost 300 pounds just to sell 300 albums. So now she has loose skin and a flop album and a weird charge. Sheesh. This is
It's
it's a
just,
lot.
it's, it's just, oh, it's just so sad. It's so sad. And I don't even want to make the comparison to Azalea Banks because Azalea, I feel like, has always been this girl,
They're
but
relatively the
it's
same person now.
yeah, and they're both great they're great, such talented people, but they can't get out of their own way. And but this whole situation with her making it about like just like especially right now
Attacking
with
other
ICE,
women.
aligning with ICE and aligning with all these things, just that's I think what kind of like I draw the line at this point. But let's also talk about something that Nunu has brought up because she's a real Barb and she's always going to bring up the devil's advocate card. Do we give other artists that have been
Fuck it.
so outed so terribly, do we give them the same like boot list? Because let's be clear, Justin Timberlake still being played.
Boots.
Kanye
Snoop
West
Dogg. Snoop
still
Dogg.
being played. What's wrong with Snoop Dogg?
He also supports Trump.
Lil Wayne also supports Trump. And also, mind you, let's look at this wedding that just happened where Nicki Minaj was with her husband, but they also reported that Sexy Red was there. Amber Rose was there. You said Jennifer Coolidge was there, correct?
And Adam Sandler.
And Adam Sandler. So Are we gonna give them the same heat? Are we gonna cancel them from, like, gay culture and queer culture and media culture? Are we which Adam Sandler doesn't belong to, but is the general public gonna cancel him? No. And you don't see the same treatment for other artists that have been terrible human beings to different people. So that's
No,
what's
right.
kind of that's what's annoying. Like, I think that needs to be a conversation too.
I think it's like a same comparison to, like, Tyra Banks, and I know I'm jumping, but I know that, Tyra Banks has an America's Top Model documentary come out on Netflix, and, it's exposing them, and there was comments like, "Oh, she's not taking accountability," and da 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 da, and I think it still presents the same problem where, for some reason, when a Black woman does something, it's magnified, and they are treated as, like, the sole bearers of all the things that's wrong, and actually, something I do agree with that Azalea Banks tweeted recently, even though she's still tweeting stuff about Trump and stuff, is that, she's saying the problem, you all, is that you're mad at Azalea Banks and Nicki Minaj, but we do not have the power to do all these things that you are mad about. We don't have the power to fund the research, to make the changes, to stop ICE, da 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 da. And I do think that's a valid point. Like we are coming at these people like so hard as if they again bear the weight of all of this when again, at the end of the day, Nicki Minaj is not a citizen. She did not vote. She has no real power in American politics or how it goes outside of just influence to fans across the globe. So, however they take that is however they take that. But I think there's other avenues. But of course, as a Barb, yeah, it's disappointing. And I've just removed myself from the sphere. And that's just where I'm at. I don't listen to her. Moving on, and I think it's okay to
It's
move on.
yeah. Um, but to your point, I really want that to be addressed, especially after. Well, clearly, no one's addressing the whole wedding gate, and like no one's talking about all these other artists that are gonna just slide through the cracks. But it also just adds confirmation to this why she sees herself as a villain, is because people make her to be the villain more so than any other person that does the same exact thing that she does. So I think that's a really complex issue that no one wants to talk about. But I'm still you can still say that, but still really reserve, like you said, that critique or that like boundary with her now. You can still say, y'all don't treat other people like this, but also we still need to stand strong because let's not pretend like Nicki Minaj would not have been the only Republican at the Grammys.
I mean, yeah, again, I think there are people that were on that stage last night that were active Republicans and support ICE and do all these other things. So again, I think we just pick and choose, and that's fine. I mean, again, recently Kanye West released his apology to the Black community and Jewish community, citing his troubles with bipolar disorder, not medication, his loss of his mother. Things are all very true, but it is 2026, and he been crazy for a bit, for a bit.
I just think he's gonna drop an album.
He will. He dropped his projected to drop his whatever album, Bully, in March. He's already performed alongside his daughter Northwest in Mexico City last week,
Okay.
and we are, heading towards new music. But if you want to listen to it, you do. If not, keep it moving. What's not moving though are ticket sales for Melania. Man, are you gonna go see it?
It was at we went to go see Send Help, which I highly suggest. And they had the buckets, like the popcorn buckets that were branded Melania, the most boring buckets you've ever seen in your life. I'll add
I
it
had
here.
Melania buckets. That's
Um,
impossible. What is it?
and it was just a picture of Melania, black and white Melania, coming to theaters January 30th. Boring ass
Melania.
bucket. And they were showing it. I was like, really? That's another thing. Like, I almost wanted to cancel my Regal Unlimited right there because y'all can't protest. You can't Why are you giving this bitch a platform? Why are y'all doing that? That's
Ooh,
so
for the
annoying.
check, for
Like,
the check.
no, I think that's so
It's the
ridiculous.
same
I
way
think that
that Hilton
people need to
hotels,
stop.
don't turn away ICE agents or businesses don't refuse service. I think that, you know, businesses are always gonna do and like
I'm telling you right now, if
businesses
I
do.
ever found out that one of the people patrons at Reggaeton Brunch was an ICE agent, I would literally kick them out.
Wow.
I would. I would. I'd be like,
Would you
"Hi,
try
are
to
you?"
show them the error of their ways? Would you try
I'd be
to
like, "Why would you come here?
educate them?
Why do you feel like you can come here, celebrate, and feel like you can celebrate things when you're actively going against the same exact community?
Fuck
Like, I think you should
Dolly.
leave actually,
Fuck
because
Dolly.
yeah, it's fuck you forever." So
Nah, Dolly, you lost. So I feel like, Nikki has also lost a lot, right? While fans are saying she has gained the weight Lizzo lost, which is not true.
I mean, I think it's
I
also
do
annoying that y'all are
feel
coming for her weight. I think that's weird too.
yeah, it's also
Like,
weird. It's weird, but she does look, not her up to her usual standard. Wigs are questionable. Outfits are
are you defending her or
questionable.
not? Are you defending her or
I
not?
mean, I'm only speaking the facts. I just have to speak the facts. And the facts are again, a lot of our stars, and maybe we're seeing the death of celebrity. I keep saying that. We have Jay-Z brought up in the Epstein files. We have Nicki posting Jay-Z with Aaliyah and pictures of her and Beyonce when they were underage, allegedly. All this is alleged. So it feels like some people are predicting is he's the next one to be taken down. What does that mean for Beyonce? Da da da. Da. Very interesting time for the current celebrity, especially the American celebrity.
The veil's slowly being pulled off, and I hope that there. I am actually watching Diddy the Reckoning right now. That's what I'm about to do when I hang up this. I'm watching it. It's actually fun to watch. Not fun. It is like interesting to watch and see. Like I didn't think I grew up with Diddy like that, but in reality, the minute he dated Jennifer Lopez, I knew exactly who he was, and then that's where I really started like any song that they start playing, I'm like, oh my god, that song was a bop, and that song is a song that I used to play a lot. And just to see how pivotal he was in the scene, really, like I had Sean John, but bitch, Sean John was all up in those Marshalls as a kid that my parents would buy me stuff from. Oh, I had that and
And they had
Rockaware.
plus sizes too, honey. What you talking about? I feel like
Is that Sean John you have on right now? Oh wow, okay. I didn't know they had Sean John for her.
yeah, yeah, his and hers. He actually had I remember as a kid at a state fair or local fair, there was some kind of prize or whatever, and there were these framed pictures, I think, like, celebrities or different things, and I chose this glass frame picture of Puff Daddy because I was so obsessed as, like, a six-year-old because I was a true faggot.
That's
You had
crazy.
to and I was like, "I have my picture of Puff Daddy," and I was so excited.
Oh my god, Puff Daddy. Daddy. Yeah, that's how I met him first.
"Hello, good morning." You can't listen to any of it, Diddy or Nicki's Heart no more. Everything gone, y'all.
I know, that's a
Everything.
double entendre, honey.
Oh my
Shit.
god.
What kind of reality? But yeah, I'm watching The Reckoning. I'll report back. Right now, the first episode is just everything what we already knew. They're about to jump into the fact that he definitely killed Biggie and Tupac. So
Boots. Allegedly, I do think that we are removing the veil, going into a different space, and society, especially in the next few years, will not look the same. It'll be another renaissance, another time of enlightenment, and I'm ready for that part.
thank you for coming. Thank you for listening to the podcast today. My name is Rafi, and this is my best friend.
Newly
I'm looking for a
Paris.
noun. Yes. And we are so happy that you guys tuned in. Hey, don't be a barb slash really what it means is it really is that political. Every decision we're making right now is political. Every stance, everything deserves a stance. It's not that easy anymore. I wish we could be in the gray area, but that's not a reality. Um, and love your neighbor. Treat everyone that you see with respect until they don't. You can find me at Wait Rafi on Instagram and TikTok. And you can also follow Reggaeton Brunch. I hope we see you February 8th this weekend for Super Bowl weekend. We have a lot of great stuff going on at Whitlow's. And then we can't wait to see you, yeah, this Sunday, February 8th from 12 to 4.